was thinking of the parking lot, they told you somebody about the restoration place, they just changed their service. Their AI. Representative.
Supposedly we were able to sell all the balls.
No, I'm just fine. I can work here. No, you're always I gotta think whether it's oh, that was AI. Let's see what else I can find Well, he went from, I don't know why they said he came back from Vietnam. He was nominated because they wanted to look at he came on as standby. That was must have been
Hi everybody, welcome to the library. Welcome Bill for our fourth program in our special evening with series in summer. I think this is our fifth summer having this series, and we're so glad you're here. And I'll just let you know there are 2 more programs after this in the series. Next week on Thursday, Shelli will be back with our Teen Center Coordinator, Catherine Long, and they're going to teach you all about coding. How to make your own website.
Don't be too enthusiastic.
And then our final program will be Thursday, August 6th at 6:30 p.m. And we're really proud to have this opportunity to have Dr. Dawn Y. Curry come to speak. She is a professor at the University of Nebraska. She grew up right here in Lancaster County. She's very excited that her mother will get to hear her for the very first time. She specializes in African history, and the title of her program is When the People Sing, Protest Music and Freedom Struggles in South Africa.
Oh.
Yes, so that should be quite fascinating. And I am just so thrilled that Shelli is going to lend us her expertise in AI, something that I know we're all excited and maybe a little bit nervous about. So without further ado, Shelli, take it away.
Hi, just want to give a little something up front. Tonight, we're not going to be discussing data centers or water or electricity usage with AI because they can be very controversial topics, and we're not going to get into that, and I don't feel that responsibly enough that I know enough about those to lead a informative conversation. So we're just going to stay away from those topics tonight. Any questions, please? Okay. So this is AI, what is artificial intelligence? And the first question is, how many of you have used AI this week and maybe don't even realize it? I can guarantee you everybody in this room has used it, whether you realize it or not. So the first, let's just give a quick definition of what AI is. So it's a technology that allows computers to perform tasks that normally require human intelligence, such as researching, understanding languages, answering questions, and solving problems. So in simple terms, AI is a computer program that takes information. It gathers information from a bunch of sources when you ask it a question, and then it computes it together and it predicts an answer. The more information that a topic already has out there, the better response you're going to get from AI with it. You're going to get a more correct response, the more information that it has to pull from. Because it will also take information, I kind of liken it a little bit to Wikipedia. It will also take incorrect information and factor that in there. If anybody's ever used Wikipedia, you know that anybody can enter stuff in there and it can be incorrect information as well. So the more correct information that AI has to work with on a subject, the better the response is going to be. So just an easy example, pretty much I'm sure just about everybody has streaming, and Netflix especially is really good. It's called the algorithm. It goes through, you pick the shows or the movies that you watch, and then it collects that data, and then it suggests upcoming series or movies for you based on the genre or the topic that you watched, and it creates a list for you that it thinks you're going to like that way. So that takes the information that you've entered in every time you watch something or search for something in there, and then it spits something back out. Hey, you like this, so you're probably gonna like this as well. So just think of it as this. AI does not think or feel like a person. It's data and computing power. It recognizes patterns in data, and it uses that data to make its best predictions on what it thinks the answer is going to be. It doesn't have feelings. It doesn't base its information on a feeling of a subject. It gives you just straight facts that it comes up with from its research. So just to kind of break it down a little bit, it helps us to complete tasks faster, it gives us direct answers, and it makes smart predictions. And again, the more information it has, the smarter the predictions are. So one other example besides Netflix is GPS. GPS will help you find the fastest route to somewhere. It will take all the different routes and all the different roads to get to a destination, and it will tell you, hey, this one's going to be quicker, but you might pay tolls. This one is going to be quicker, but there may be police presence or accidents on there, so I'm going to reroute you. It takes all that information because a lot of you know in the cars now, you can go on your GPS on the dashboard and say, hey, there's still police presence here. Hey, there's still an accident here. When it senses it, and that feeds that data into the Maps apps to help you avoid those, hopefully. So then another one that a lot of people really don't like is the email AI. When you're writing an email, Gmail is really good for this. It'll automatically pop up and go, you want some help writing that? I can help you write that a little bit better. And you can turn it off, but it will help you if you are trying to do, sometimes they, in a business professional email, when you're trying to collect money or something, it kind of helps you write it a little bit nicer, more professional way like that. And it will also help you summarize a longer email or an email that you receive with a lot of information in it. So that's a new thing. They kind of push it on you now, especially on Gmail, but you can turn it off, and some people like it, some people do not like it. So again, these are just some more of the examples that I went over. Spam filters, that's a really good thing with it. It deletes and blocks unwanted or suspicious emails. What it does is it takes the same things that I always tell all you guys about in all of these things to look for email scams. If the email is like ._IE. If it's supposedly coming from like a company, but it's coming from xyzabc@gmail.com, it's gonna know that that is a spam email. So it will automatically filter a lot of emails into your spam folder for you. Siri, voice assistant, that's what said just about everybody probably has used it. Siri is an AI where you just ask it a question and then it comes back with an audio response for you. And it will also do, a lot of people really don't like this and kind of get freaked out by it, the shopping suggestions. You search something on Google or you click on something on Facebook that interested you, and all of a sudden you're getting all these ads tailored specifically to this one thing that even if you accidentally clicked on it, you're going to just see all these suggestions for the same thing. Say you just clicked on the new dinosaur cat costume. I know you've seen it. I clicked on it. So now I've seen that on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook for me quite a few times, wanting me to buy that from Target, and I probably will. But also, if you just kind of have it, Siri picks it up on your phone sometimes, even if you're just kind of talking about it, you'll get the suggestions when you go on your browser as well through that. It's kind of a little bit invasive, and if you have Alexa, that's really bad with it. Alexa will definitely hear what you're saying. It thinks it's being helpful. Sometimes it is. Sometimes, it's just a little bit of overkill because maybe you didn't really mean to click on that, or it was just one thing you wanted to look at and you've already purchased it. So I have just a question down there, just if you can just look, which do you use every day that maybe you didn't even realize how much of it that you're using? So I'm just going to give a little bit of a brief history of how AI came to be. So in the 1950s, the birth of AI came up. The scientists first began developing early computing systems capable of basic learning and solving simple logical problems, a lot of math problems. That's kind of when the coding started as well. In 1997, the Deep Blue outperforms the humans in logic. So the IBM supercomputer Deep Blue defeated the reigning world chess champion for the first time in 1997. So it was the first public proof that AI could outperform human intelligence in a specific, very highly specific, rules-based situation. Again, it does not think like feeling-wise, but if it's very specific situation with specific rules, it is able to go, be on the same level as human intelligence on there. And just because something like that with chess is basically you're predicting what the next move is going to be. So then in 2011, IBM's Watson tackles the natural language. It won the quiz show Jeopardy against human champions. And then in 2022, ChatGPT came around to be. So OpenAI launched ChatGPT, bringing the AI out of research labs and into the public sector. So it just became overnight. You could just ask it questions, ask it to generate images for you. Just, instead of having to go look up in an encyclopedia or a dictionary and flip the pages, you could just go into ChatGPT and ask the question, and it was right there at your fingertips at that point. And again, it got better over time because the more time you research the subject, the better it streamlined the answer. So the present day now, it's got a rapid expansion of it. We use it almost every day. So it's used in healthcare quite a bit, which we're going to get into a little bit later, in diagnostics and research. It's used in education and business. It's used in education a lot with tutoring and to help students advance themselves. It's used in transportation. We all know the self-driving cars. That's a big one. And again, the GPS and anything like that, but the self-driving cars are a really big one. So, where people are just thinking, hey, AI, maybe I'm not really into it right now, but you are actually using it every day. Whether you realize it or not, it's here. And it can be helpful, but reading into it also cannot be. So how it actually works. So simply put, it's input for data, training for patterns to output. And to break that out is, think of it like a pipeline. All right, it's a 5-step pipeline. So the input is the question or the prompt or the image that you give the system that you want the information on. The data is then the massive library of data that the AI program pulls from to give you the best answer. It goes through just all the information that it has gathered on the web before. Then the training is the computing process where the system analyzes the data it goes through, and it analyzes which is the best data, which makes the most sense and everything like that. It looks in the patterns, it looks for connections and relationships between the information that it's researching to come up with what it comes together the best, what meshes best together. And the output is the final answer or image, whichever that it gives to you, or prediction that's made. So, So one thing that it says a comparison is AI can be considered as a very fast student who has read billions of documents but doesn't actually understand a single word of it. They've read it, they take it in, they're going to analyze it, they're going to spit it back out to you, but they don't actually, like a human, they don't actually understand what they're spitting back out to you. So what it is, AI is, it's a brilliant, hyper-efficient, pattern-matching image. What it's not is it is not conscious, wise, or capable of true comprehension on its own. So there are 3 types of AI. For today and versus tomorrow, only one. The narrow AI is the only one that's actually active right now. So narrow AI is the AI that's designed and trained to excel at specific single tasks within a defined scope. So this exists today in the real world. And so examples of that are Siri, where it manages your voice commands, and smart assistants, Google Maps, where, of course, with your GPS, it gets the routes and everything for you, and ChatGPT, Google Gemini, Claude, there's a bunch of them that are just like the search engines there. ChatGPT is the most popular. I'll tell you what I have found is ChatGPT is good for just everyday information. If you're doing something a little bit more polished or business oriented, Google Gemini tends to go in and give you a little bit more of a more professional answer or more professional graphic or graph than ChatGPT does. Like I'll use, like here just as an example, I use ChatGPT a lot to help me with the kids programs, with creating graphics for the slides and information like that, like just the fun, hey, come on out, you know, we're out here, we're gonna, we've got pirates and everything like that. And then I use Google Gemini for the more professional adult programs and things that are going on like that. So that's kind of how, kind of differentiate between the two. The next one is called General AI or AGI, the Verizon. It refers to a system possessing human-level intelligence, which is capable of learning, reasoning, and adapting across entirely different subjects, just like a human mind. That does not exist yet. They are working on it, but it does not exist. It's an active, ongoing research field, and it's largely speculative. So they're trying to get that, but it is not here yet. And then the third one is superintelligence, which is a theoretical future. That is a level of intelligence that surpasses human capability across every domain, from scientific discovery, creative arts, to strategy. It does not exist today, and it is purely theoretical concept focused on distant future possibilities. Think like, you know, Star Trek, Star Wars, way out there like that. The general AI is being researched right now and may come to be in the near future, at least on a limited basis. The superintelligence probably will not. So we have AI in everyday life. That's kind of probably why a lot of you guys are here. Like, what do you use it for every day? So we have it for writing emails, drafting, editing, refining the tone of your email. Gmail has to help you write. Microsoft has the Copilot function, which on Outlook will help you with that. And then of course there's ChatGPT, where you can just put in there, write me an email on a specific subject, and it'll spit out an email. You just have to copy and paste it. So you just an example that I already kind of went over was you need to ask the client for a past due payment, but you don't want to sound aggressive. It's you type a quick note with the facts of what you need into one of the AI programs, and you ask it to rewrite this to sound polite, professional, and clear, and it's going to come out with a nice, please give me my money, but I'm not a mean person email that they will not then block you for, hopefully. Let's see, trip planning. It does really good with building custom itineraries and finding routes and tailoring schedules. I'm going to skip ahead for a second. I have a little example for it, and then I'm going to come back. So I have a couple slides that are going to be back and forth. So here, for the trip itinerary, and I don't need you, I know you're not going to be able to read it, so it's fine. I can read it. I asked it to create a day trip itinerary for visiting Kilmarnock and Lancaster County, Virginia. And it took the information that it had from all the different websites around talking about Kilmarnock, and it did really, really well. It broke it out, first of all, into daily time segments, but it was really good. It gave specific places. It said 9 a.m., go have breakfast at the Car Wash Cafe. Then it said, go onto Main Street to explore the Steptoe District, and it listed the businesses, Salt and Sand, Weekends, the Antique Gallery. Then it mentioned that we have an art gallery with RAL, and it mentioned what you'll find in there they pulled from their website. Then it said to come to the library.
Yay.
What's in there? Come to the library. And it says, see the current art exhibit that we have in the lobby every month. Visit Dee's Attic Bookstore. And it has it. We have books, puzzles, games, and different unique finds that it got from our website. You know, and it just went through, it talked about the town center park that it has. It mentioned a couple different places for lunch, Small Town Burger, Lee's Restaurant, talked about the Kilmarnock Museum. It said have a wine tasting at Good Luck Cellars, go to the Kilmarnock Inn, and it even listed that it's Filibuster's is the restaurant in Kilmarnock Inn for dinner. And then it says the season, it even pulled from seasonal events that you could have music on the half shell, farmers markets, outdoor festivals, and then it just had a little bit of a reminder, don't leave without Dee's Attic Bookstore. Art from the RAL Art Center, wine from Good Luck Cellars, and then it had just a little bit of a synopsis why you'll love Kilmarnock. Warmth of a small town with the energy of a vibrant Main Street. You can browse boutiques, art, history, parks, wines, and fresh Chesapeake cuisine. And it did in here mention like the fresh seafood and everything that you can get as well. And it says the perfect destination for a leisurely getaway. So it was very specific, which was really good. It pulled very specific information from all the websites and information that we have. Now, what I did find interesting, I don't have these on the slides, but then I went into some photos. I said, find me a photo of Lancaster Community Library and Town Center Park. It found the photos that we have on the website, the exterior photos. So then I said, create me a photo, an image of the library with Kilmarnock Town Center Park, because we're right next to each other, like a drone image. You know how they have the drones that fly over. What I found very interesting there is that's when it just died. That's when it did not work at all, because it did not find where the library and Town Center Park are like constantly put together. So it created an overview, but it had it completely wrong. They had Lancaster Community Library on the building, but it was a brick building. They had Kilmarnock Town Center Park, but it looked like a park maybe out in California, and it was surrounded by a neighborhood. So it got confused where it found the individual. When I asked for it to put it together, it could not do it. Now it did say, after it gave the picture, it said that I can give you some information on how the library and the park go together, such as story time under the pavilion and things like that. So it did, again, pick up where we post and share, where we have programs out there, but it could not give me a visual of them together because it's just apparently not many out there like that. I found that interesting.
Did you say it launched a drone?
No, I was trying to ask for it, like, to get the drone pictures overview, yeah.
I thought they were going a little far.
Yeah, no, it did not, no.
Drones.
We launched a drone during the ice storm, and we broke it overnight, so we did not launch any drones here. So then, it's very helpful in translation. I have another, I'm skip ahead again. A lot of people will use it if they're in a foreign country to translate the language or anything. So I wanted to do one, and the one thing I could really think of was when I was in college, I had to read Canterbury Tales in Middle English. I had to do that. So I put that in there. I put the prologue. I said, translate the Canterbury Tales from Middle English to modern day English. So it did it. It did it. It took it. I'm not going to try and read it now. I used to could, but it took the original and it translated it stanza by stanza for the prologue into what we can understand today. And it also gave me a little synopsis at the end about the prologue after it translated it. So that's actually really helpful for schoolwork or if you're traveling in a foreign country or anything like that. And actually, like one big one that people use is Google Translate. You just pop right into the phone and it'll translate it for you. So I'm just pages because I'm sure nobody really wants to try and read all that. Homework, it will help kids with homework. It has things like Khan Academy, different, online academies with tutoring where you can ask for it, for tutoring with specific subjects. They can take picture of a complex math equation to see a step-by-step breakdown of how to solve it, because again, it is a very specific problem, and the AI can break it down and solve it for them, and put it in, they can break it out into compartments to where it's understandable. It's not all staring at you at one time. They use it now in health monitoring. So a big thing that a lot of you probably have are the Apple Watches, the Fitbit, the continuous glucose monitors, all the rings, the Aura rings, the ones that send alerts to your app if you're about ready to pass out or something like that. But any of that, it tracks your steps, it tracks your calories. I have an app on my phone that's a cute little raccoon that tracks how many calories I eat a day. I put the food, I put it in, or I take a picture, and it goes through AI, and it will find out the closest amount of calories. So you can list the calories, or it'll just say, hey, this plate of food is probably about 400 calories, and it'll log it in for you like that. So there are all sorts of ones for health like that. Customer service, it's just a 24/7 support. If you're trying to reach customer service, you can get the automated chat. If you can't always reach somebody, and it will, a lot of times it tells you, I'm sorry, I can't help you with that. But did that help you? But it will answer the basic questions of any time of day. Amazon has it, the airlines have it, anything like that, to just give you basic information. If it's very specific to you, you're gonna have to wait, and it will tell you, unfortunately, I can't help you with that. But it gives you just the basic information that you need. I have it here on my desk too, so I don't mess up. All right, AI in healthcare. That's a big place where AI is being used right now. So probably the most well-known is medical imaging, detecting tumors, bone fractures, organ anomalies. The tools are Google Health Imaging, AI.biz.ai. So a specific example, just to kind of break it out, is an ER patient gets an emergency CT scan after showing stroke symptoms. And then the AI image recognition software scans the CT scan in seconds, detects a hidden blood clot, and immediately alerts the stroke care team on their smartphones that they've got someone that's going to come in and save critical brain tissue before the radiologist even opens the file. So it's done in seconds before the human even gets to open the file in the back room there. Drug discovery, it speeds up the search for new medicines. It simulates molecular structures, predicting candidates for drug success. A couple of what they use in the real world are called DeepMind's AlphaFold or in silico medicine. So a scientist wants to design a new treatment targeting hard-to-treat cancer protein. So instead of spending years doing the physical trial and error in the lab, they'll use the program AlphaFold to predict the 3D structures of over 200 million proteins overnight, mapping out potential drug compounds in days rather than decades. So again, they just put that all into a program like that instead of having to go through actual physical trial and error. Let's see, patient monitoring, it real-time tracks vital signs and automatic alerts for sudden medical changes. That's the glucose monitors is a really big, the main one of that. And the example is the diabetes patient wearing the glucose monitor, has that off. It tracks the blood sugar trends and alerts the patient's smartphone through the app that a dangerous crash is predicted to happen in 20 minutes, which gives them time to then get their blood sugar back up so they can tell you, hey, it's gonna come. You don't have to wait until you're in the middle of it happening. Administrative tasks, of course, we have all the online calendars, the online scheduling assistants, the virtual assistants that became really big during COVID. People use the virtual assistant programs. They do coding, appointment scheduling, medical charting, things like that online. There's the virtual health assistants. They answer health questions online. There's the Mayo Clinic virtual assistants, a big one, care message. So they're 24-hour symptom triage, automated medication reminders, and post-surgery check-ins. So again, it's a little bit of basic information, but it is helpful 24/7 to have it. They say, a patient's at home recovering from knee surgery, and then the virtual assistant sends the automated daily texts asking about your pain levels for you to enter in so it can keep a track of that. It reminds you to take your medicine at a certain time. reminds them that they have to check in, send information or a photo to the doctor. That way, you don't have to go in to the doctor's appointments all the time, but you can just send it over the internet, and it will make sure, it helps to make sure that you don't have infection or a problem coming up. You can catch it ahead of time instead of you thinking you might have something wrong and waiting for an appointment.
How do you activate a virtual assistant?
You find a program and you sign up for it, you create an account, some of them you have to pay for. Each one is a little bit different, it will walk you through it.
What's an example?
An example is, like, a lot of the spas around here use a virtual calendar, like, let's say it's like Calendar.io, and you go in through the calendar, they'll say, hey, when you want the appointment, you go in through the calendar, and it's got the list of that day, when they have openings and when they don't. You submit it through there, they get it on their end, and they send you an email, but you don't actually talk to anyone there. It all goes through a calendar, and it's automated for them, so they're not having to spend all the time in person.
And what group is that?
Well, just a lot of different ones around here. A lot of like the day spas and stuff will use those for scheduling on that. I've seen that a lot of times.
Thank you.
It's just, they're all over. It just depends. Some of them you have to pay, some of them you don't have to pay. Kind of depends on how in depth you want to go with them. AI in education is a big one. It has personalized learning. Oops, here it is. That's one, like with the tutoring for students, it adapts the lessons, difficulty in real time. It adapts the learning to the student's need. There's a couple of them, that they got listed: Dreambox Learning, Carnegie Learning. They are programs where if a student is struggling with, say, fraction concepts, while the rest of the class has moved on, you feed that into the program, and they will break it out a little bit better for the students so that they don't get left behind. Or they may not be able just to understand the big picture of how it goes. They can actually just break it out step by step, and they can show the student visually and everything like that, so that they're not overwhelmed. It helps with, sometimes students get very overwhelmed. Tutoring, you have the virtual tutoring again. Anything like that, you can just kind of ask a question there, and it's late at night. If they've got a question about a homework project or something, they can put that in, and they can get the information on how to help them solve it. It's how to work through it so that they're not waiting to have to go in the next day and not have the information done. A big one for language learning, again, is they have Duolingo. We actually have that on our website too. That's actually, we have that, and we have, I forget, we have another one that we have, it's a new one. It's actually really neat. You can sign up. The one that we have has over 1,000 languages you can sign up for. You can set yourself a schedule if you want to practice 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day. And it just helps you with conversational language there. If you just want to learn it, or if you're going to travel somewhere. So it will help you with the language. You can do it like you learned it in school, or conversational language, which sometimes is a little bit different. So we have that on our website, so that's one you should actually check out. A lot of people really like that, just to learn different things. They find it helpful. So AI and creativity, this can get a little controversial too. Can AI be creative? Yes, it can. It can create digital paintings, illustrations, it can make graphics, it can create photos for you, it can compose music, it can produce animations on videos, it can write stories and poems. I actually had it write a poem about the library, which was kind of neat. It picked up a bunch, again, it searched the information, it did like general library about having books and things like that, then it picked up that we have Elsie on Stitches, that we have Teen Craft Night, that we have story time, so it also put in specifics, and then it asked me, would you like a more Dr. Seuss whimsical style? So then it gave me the same information in Dr. Seuss rhymes, which was actually pretty neat. So it does do these things which are helpful. if you use it responsibly, like I'll ask it to create graphics. I used it a lot for the summer reading to create graphics for the programs. The problem is, where it gets a little questionable, is who owns the right to what has been created. And especially with art and art shows, is it really considered art? That has been a big question. So there's no single answer. They're still trying to work on it. They have not really come up with an answer. There was an art show where some people created art with AI and put it in the show, and other people got upset. They said it was not an original creation. Then there were people who argued, no, it was original creation because they thought of the idea and put it in to have it generated. So this, yes, it can be creative. Yes, it can be helpful if you use it responsibly, but yes, it can also be a little bit controversial on that, just exactly who owns it. And another place like that, not with art, is people are using AI to write books. Put in a prompt and AI will write a book for you. And that's, well, who owns the book? Who owns the rights to the book then? Who owns the copyright? So, they're still dealing with it. They're trying to pass some laws. Ethics comes into it. So they do not have full answers yet. So people are just going to have their opinions on it. But the main point that I want to get across is, yes, it will help you with any of these items here. It will help you, and if you give it the correct information. Now, what it won't do is it will not duplicate something that's already been done. You cannot ask it to give you, something from like a book that's already been written. It will not give you specific from that book. It will not reproduce the pages of the book. It will give you a synopsis, things like that. So it does recognize copyright from what's already been previously put out there. It will not do that. It will not give you an instruction manual page per page. My dad's sitting there. He's tried to fool that many times, and he's like, I just can't get the full book. He's been trying to get around it, but so yeah, it does recognize copyrighted material, and it will not reproduce it for you. And one thing it also will not do, I wanted to have it reproduce an audio file for me. I wanted to have it do, because I wanted to show an audio file, or have you listened to an audio file of what we're going to talk about in a few minutes, of how AI voice progression goes to where you feel like you're talking to a real person. It would not do that for me, because that's using a lot of scams. And it said ethically, I can give you, here's these websites that can explain to you, here's programs where you can create AI voices, but I cannot give you a specific script on this. Ethically, I cannot do that, which is actually good, but I don't have anything for you guys to listen to, but it wouldn't do that for me. But that's actually a good thing that it does recognize that.
So it used the word ethically?
Yeah, it did. It shut me down. It told me no. I said, no way. So another big question people have is AI going to take my job? No, it's going to change some jobs, but it's not necessarily going to take it. One of the examples that came up with was like the Industrial Revolution. When that came about, people were worried about that, and the computer revolution. So jobs are going to change, and new roles are going to emerge, but it's not necessarily going to replace you. It's going to replace some tasks, but then it's going to give you new tasks to do. Your job is going to change to go with the tasks to build on what the AI has done. It takes over repetitive tasks, allowing the people to focus more on creative and complex work. It creates new jobs, such as AI developers, trainers, data analysts, and ethics specialists. Ethics specialists are a big one. Creativity question. It changes how many jobs are done rather than eliminating them again with the Industrial Revolution and everything like that. So, no, it's not going to take over your job, but it may change your job description. It may change how you do your job. So it's going to advance just like things have advanced in the past. But I know a lot of people kind of worry about that.
Did it design that for you?
Mm-hmm. Sure did.
Wow. So what did you put into it?
I took the information about AI and jobs, the information like, the question, will AI take my job? And I put in some information to get the wording there, and then I asked it to create an image to summarize what was on the words in the
You asked
slide.
it to create.
I asked it to create the image to summarize what was on the words there, yes.
You're marvelous. That's
And it
fantastic.
took a lot less time than me trying to piece that together.
That's great.
So the benefits of AI, you got better productivity a lot of times, it automates routine tasks, it helps you work faster and work smarter. It assists people with disabilities, speech to text, closed captioning, like the live stream there. Not only is it picking up the audio that I'm doing, but that camera there automatically, once I put it up and edit it, it automatically comes out with closed captioning of everything that I've said as well for people to look at here. Screen readers, translation, the screen reader, you know, where if you have like on your iPad or something and you have it, it will read out what is on the screen if you have trouble seeing it for you. Scientific research, obviously it speeds up, you know, research. It can analyze large amounts of data much quicker than a human can. Customer service, 24/7 access, may not be specific to your question, but it will give you at least a start and a little bit of a broader takeaway. So it does help in certain things. It is beneficial, and we all know that because we've all used it pretty much every day. So even if you kind of think you really don't like AI, you probably use a little bit of it and it's helpful to you. Here's the risks. It will confidently provide you incorrect information with no problem. If there is a subject that does not have a large coverage, you're not going to get the correct information, but it's going to spit it out to you just like, oh, here it is, because I took it from, you know, here, I found little bits of information, this is what I came up with, and it's not correct. It will invent a book title, it will change the characters, will get things wrong in a book. I tried to use it, I didn't read one of the books for the book group 1 month, I didn't have a chance to, and I tried to asked it to give me questions for the book, and I didn't know enough. I had gone in and scanned the book and everything, enough to know that it was not correct. It was not like a hugely popular, big book group list book, so it did not have a lot of coverage, so it did not have a lot of information to pull from, so I still had to go back and make questions up myself. Even though I hadn't read the book, so you know, but that's okay. But that's just, I was able to catch it that, yep, it's got the names of the characters are incorrect, but the more that people will input the information on a subject, the more correct that the output's going to be.
So my question now is it just relating back to you, the conversation and the information you have given it, or does it pick up other people's inputs that might have been to the same question?
Oh, it picks up, it pulls from all the inputs, all the other questions that it's been asked and all the other information that's been posted up, and it pulls from all of that to give you their best prediction of what's correct from it. But if it doesn't have a lot of information, like it hasn't been talked about a lot or hasn't been questioned a lot, it doesn't have as much to pull from. And it's not gonna be as correct.
Is it keeping a record of what you asked?
Yes, it does, it's all in there. It's not gonna specifically give you like, oh, you asked me this before necessarily, but it's putting that into the database to pull from. So, deepfakes are a problem. Oh, wait, oh, no, there it is, okay. Oh, there it is. I can't see, no glasses on, so I can't see. Deepfakes are an issue. You can tell where it has issues. A lot of times they'll put up pictures of celebrities doing something, and you can tell it's not correct. You know, the hand will be a little bit distorted, or a facial expression is wrong, or they have an extra arm or something like that. You know, they can make a video of someone, like a politician, making a statement that they didn't actually make because they take clips of that person's voice and then piece it together into a statement they want it to make. A big thing going around that I've seen on Facebook, which is absolutely ridiculous, and I just can't believe people fall for it still. You'll see, like, this soccer player player donated the name of a specific soccer player, donated this whole salary to this animal shelter to make sure all the animals got adopted. That's great. That's wonderful. We're all thinking that's wonderful. 2 hours later, a completely different soccer player on a completely different team did the exact same thing. Then another one did the exact same thing. So they're just picking it up, so it's not real. But it's just replicating it over and over again. And eventually you have to kind of realize, it's probably not real, because not 15 soccer players from all different teams are not going to all donate, make sure animals are adopted from the same animal shelter, which would be nice. But that's a big one that's actually been going around on Facebook quite a bit with that. Different athletes. So scams, of course, AI is making it very easy, unfortunately, for people to get scammed online. We're going to go into a few of them in a little bit. If you've come to any of my other talks, you'll know which ones I'm talking about. Privacy, personal information does not remain private. We all know that. If you enter in information, it goes into a large database that it continues to pull from. So you're best off not to enter in any personal information into a search. Make it a little bit more generic. Try not to make anything very specific to you, because it's gonna stay out there. Anything like financial, medical information like that you don't want. It can be biased, because it doesn't have all the complete information. I have a little chart on that a little bit later too, to go into that, where it can be biased with unfair results for different factions of people. Job disruption, of course, like I said, it's not going to necessarily take your job, but it's going to change how your job is done. So where you've been doing the job one way, you're going to change up to start doing it a different way. So if you use it responsibly, it's a good thing, but there are people that use it irresponsibly, and that's where the risks come in, and that's where you have to be careful with it. Because unfortunately, there are people that I always say, if they use that much effort into doing good in the world, just think of what they can do, but they don't. So a couple of examples here, the deepfakes and misinformation. Again, you can see like they have the very unnatural facial movements, the robotic voice patterns. Unfortunately, this is getting a lot better and a lot harder to tell. Strange lighting, blurry details, like you have an extra finger, an extra arm, something like that. So a lot of it you can kind of tell, but unfortunately some of it is getting a lot better. Like they said, I've seen about 20 different wedding pictures from Taylor Swift's wedding, and I don't think any of them are actually her, so I haven't actually seen the real one. So yeah, not real yet. So, just to kind of look out for, before you believe or share something, like I tell you with any of the scams, just pause, take a second, take a breath, think about it. Just kind of, don't immediately react to it. A big thing with scammers are they feed on urgency. They want to catch you off guard. They want to scare you. Verify the information. Like I tell you with the scam, if someone emails you or calls you and say you owe me money or you have to do this, it's your right to disconnect that call or get away from that chat and call, or you initiate the contact with the real number for the company. That's your right, and if they are legitimate that you're reaching, then they are going to understand why you reached out that way. If they're the scammers, then they're going to get upset with you, but it is your right to verify the information that is the correct company. It says here, do some cross-checking. Look, from reputable sources if you see something going around. For, a lot of times it kind of comes out when Medicare is due. I use that example with the, you see the commercials, if you get this Medicare supplement, you can get free groceries, free eyeglasses, and it's really not true. And they want you to, if you kind of check that, AARP is really good with that, they will tell you no, it's not true. So you always kind of want to check other platforms to see if that's true or not.
Can you correct it or ask them to double check if it's a valid fault?
Ask who?
When you're talking to the chat, can you say, wait a minute, that doesn't sound right?
So if you're in there, if it's a scam, like, that's when I recommend that you get off of that and you initiate a separate conversation, but because yeah, you could ask it in the chat, but if you're talking to a scammer, they're gonna say, oh, no, this information's correct. So that's why I always say, disconnect from that phone call or that chat, and you initiate the contact through the legitimate source of the company, because no, they'll tell you, oh, no, I'm correct, it's correct. So again, you don't know, because you don't know if you're talking to the incorrect person. Again, here, just how to spot the deep fakes. A lot of those are visual. I already went through those, so you saw those. And just again, don't trust it just because it looks real. It's too good to be true. It normally is. And if it comes up quite a bit as something with a lot of different people doing the exact same thing, it is probably not true. So I'm just going to go over this a little bit because I do cover the scams quite a bit. So most of you probably already know it. The voice cloning, a big one with that is the grandparent scam, where your grandchild calls up and says, I'm in jail, I need you to send me the money. And it's not your grandchild. I've actually spoken to some people around here who actually, they've had that happen to them, and they have like a code word that their grandchild knows, like if their grandchild is traveling or something, and they've asked the scammer for the code word or for the information, and they don't have it, and so that way they know that it's not their grandchild. That has actually happened to some people around here, but that's a really big one where they want to play on your emotions, that your child or your grandchild is in jail or needs money or something like that. And again, the voice cloning is again where if it's a public figure, they take snippets of their voice and piece it together to make a false statement. The celebrity scams work kind of the same way. They take the images or the audio of a celebrity and have them promote a product that they don't actually promote. Like they had Oprah and Kelly Clarkson did these new keto weight loss gummies that they did not actually promote. Tom Hanks, I did not know, but he was actually using a fake dental insurance plan scam. They used his likeness to try and sell fake insurance like that. A big one with celebrities too is cryptocurrency. They will use celebrities to say that they bought into these new, what they call altcoins. They're not like the government regulated like Bitcoins and everything, and I think you came to my cryptocurrency one, learned about that. But they will use, because some celebrities do actually endorse cryptocurrency, do have them, like Elon Musk has cryptocurrency and things like that, but then they will have just this celebrity promotes this altcoin, which really has no value, and you invest in it and you lose all your money because it is not backed at all. So we've all seen that. But they have actually gotten a little bit better with that. The romance scams, seen that. Social media, you meet somebody, kind of think you're friends or something, and then they kind of string you along, then they ask you for some money, and then they ask you if they can send you money so that you can look out for their account. This goes on and on and on, and then you're out a ton of money because you thought you had made a human connection and you thought you were helping somebody, and then all of a sudden the account goes dark, the number goes dark, and your account has been drained. Investment fraud online, and that's where crypto is really big in that, where you see an investment opportunity and, all right, so if you invest just this little bit of money, then they're going to show you, wow, so like you invested $500, well your $500 is now coming to $2,000. Here, you can withdraw $500 out of that as good faith. Then you're going to give them like $5,000 more, because why not? Because it did the same thing. And then you're going to get just a little bit more out of that, then you give them more, and then you wound up giving them $25,000, and you can't draw it out because they'll either completely just shut it down and you're out, or they will keep dragging it on. Well, you have to pay this fee. Well, you have to send me this fee. This fee has come up before, you can get it, and you continue to send them money because they got you, because you got like a little bit back in the very beginning. Crypto is bad with that because once you trade your cryptocurrency out, it's irreversible. It's not backed by the FDIC, so you have no insurance for it. Once you send it out, it's gone. You're not getting it back, they can't help you, they're very sorry, but it's not coming back to you that way. Another thing with the investment fraud is sometimes with the banks, and there's one, this is why I wanted to kind of play the audio. A woman got a phone call on her cell phone from, looked like a bank, told her that there was some issues, and we've all kind of gotten the texts or emails that, and then the bank will immediately be like, that didn't come from us, don't put your information out like that, they've been hacked. Where your account got hacked, hey, so we're gonna help you, gotta move your money so that it doesn't get messed up. And this woman was on the phone, on her cell phone, giving verbal authorization to move her money. Her landline was ringing at the same time from the actual bank because they could see what she was doing in real time, and they were trying to warn her. She didn't answer that phone call. She continued and transferred $25,000, I think it was, I read in the article. Then she calls the bank back when she hears the voicemail on her landline, and they were like, no, that wasn't us. We were trying to tell you it was a scam, but the AI had gotten the voice so good, not only did the voice sound very human and not robotic, but it had the answers. The prompts were very correct to the questions that she was asking as well. And she did not get her money back. She didn't get a penny of it back because she had verbally authorized for her money to be taken out of her account. And she lost all of that money because of that. So, unfortunately, that's kind of getting a little bit worse on things. You have to, so again, that's where I always say, hang up and call the company back yourself, initiate that back yourself. Just take, and again, I'm sure that caller said it was very urgent, prayed on it, you have to do it right now. The money's gonna be drained out of your account, and they just try and get you all worked up. You just have to, I say you have to just compartmentalize it. You just have to sit down and take it a little bit at a time because it can be very overwhelming when things like that happen. Hurry the warning sign, put that up, tell everybody that. They get very belligerent, they get just, you have to do it right now, and then they just get like really angry at you and everything, and it just kind of freaks people out. It upsets you. And you'll just agree to things. You just have to stop and think about it. Verification, again, just what I always said, pause, check, confirm, cross-check, don't trust it because it looks real. My main thing is hang up, get out of the chat, call the actual number, close out the email, don't reply back to that email. It's your right. Just stop. You just shut them down and contact the legitimate place yourself. And that's going to help you to take a breath and take a minute to think. And it's also that way you're going to be getting the legitimate information. Like one with Amazon, they were sending out these emails for assistance on your account and everything. And it was a spoof account. And so, I had someone ask me about it, and I could see it on the email. It was a spoof email. It did not come from Amazon. So what we did was we went in, we went to the Amazon website, chatted with them. They said, please send us a copy of the email, let us see it. This is not us. And so also when you do that, that also helps them to try and stop what's going on. That way the company is made aware of the scams that are going on in their name as well. I have it on paper here because I can't always see with the glasses on the screen sometimes. So here's where we're going to get into a little bit of the ethical concerns and how AI can be biased. So AI systems work like a black box. They make decisions without clearly explaining how they reach the conclusion. They just generate the data and they come up with their best predicted answer. So an example is a system was used for hiring may recommend one candidate over another, but they don't know exactly why. They're not going to tell, they're going to say, hey, I'm going to recommend Joe over Sam. It pulled their resumes and stuff, but it didn't tell the company why it thinks Joe is better than Sam. It just said, oh, I think it is. So, that's not really terribly helpful because they may have picked Joe over Sam because Joe is better at customer service, but they really need somebody that's better at data entry or something like that. So it doesn't explain why it made a decision. It just spits out the decision. biased training data, it doesn't always get a large enough pool of information to pull from, so the information that it gives out can be biased or can be incorrect. And I think, yeah, that's where this comes up. And a couple of examples here where it has the problem in healthcare when it's looking to spot cancer. The training was done on images of lighter skinned people. So in the real world, AI, they found were frequently missing or misdiagnosing the early stage on patients with a darker skin because the lesions, the spots were different contrast levels, and they were only computing on the contrast levels for a lighter skinned person, so they missed it over here. They weren't able to see it. Facial recognition comes in sometimes. They have the misidentifications because they didn't have as many examples of dark-skinned females. They didn't have as many examples put into the program as they did light-skinned males to run through. So the more information that they have put into the recognition system, it's better for them to say, oh, this is so-and-so, this is so-and-so. They will mistake when they don't have a bigger pool to pull from. And then here with voice and speech recognition, smart devices still have trouble understanding higher pitched female voices and regional accents, but females, a lot of times, I'm sorry, didn't get that, can you repeat that? Can you repeat that question? They don't, something to do with the decibels, they don't understand a higher pitched female. So what that comes out to is what's called unequal outcomes. So the outcome is not going to be correct for different factions of the population because they don't have the same amount of information to draw from. So the fair and reliable results don't always come out the way they should for everyone. Because AI learns through pattern recognition. It does not think or understand like a human does. It finds patterns in data, and that's how it comes up with its answers. It doesn't break things out and think about the situation. It just, it comes up with all that data and it spits out, this is what has come up the most, this is going to be the answer to it. So an example there was AI trained with thousands of pictures of cats to learn patterns, such as shapes, textures, and features that helped it identify a cat in a new image. So that was for one of those, like, are you legitimate or whatever? I mean, yeah, captures like that. I'm not really sure how I did cat, because cat's going to be in all sorts of different cats we've seen. Although the cat didn't see in so long enough, but. Who is responsible when AI makes a mistake? That's a big question going on, just like who's responsible if AI creates something. AI can make errors, but the responsibility still relies on you. Again, if you put in for a question like I did for the book club questions, and they were incorrect, I needed to back check that and double check it and know I couldn't put that out to the group, because then they would have known I hadn't read the book. Because it was incorrect. So, and a big thing now, when you do a Google search, the first thing that comes up is the AI response. Yep. And people go straight for that, and that's not always correct. Again, that response is pulled from the data of all the questions and how many times it's been asked and what information it's seen. What you want to kind of do is drop down to the websites or the links that are linked specifically about the question that you're answering about, instead of just a quick answer like there. It may take you a little bit longer, and just because I'm going to tell you this, because always you don't go to sponsored results, because they're going to have trackers and they're going to have viruses on, so drop down under the sponsored results. You get the same website, but they don't have the trackers on. I'm going to throw that in there. But yeah, you just automatically know you get the AI answer. It's not always correct. Part of it can be correct, part of it cannot be correct. Like I did something with another book, one of the book club book, I just asked it a question. It had the plot correct. It had the actions of the characters correct, but it had the wrong names. So it didn't, you had to check it. It had part of it correct, but not all of it. So you are responsible before you put that information out there, just to double check behind yourself. So who checks? behind it as it's going through. Researchers, developers, independent reviewers, they test the system for accuracy, bias, and fairness. I mean, there's the whole job sector out there that does all of that. Should humans always review AI information? Absolutely. Absolutely you should. Just like I say, don't use Wikipedia all the time because I've got a lot of wrong stuff in there too. And how do you balance innovation with safety and accountability? So, you want to use the new technology, but you want to keep in mind that it's still being tested, it's still having rules that are drawn up for it, and you still ultimately are responsible for what you put out there to people. You need to still remember to take responsibility for what you put out there. Future of AI, what's coming up? We already have the vehicles, the self-driving cars. They can be great, or we've seen where they cannot be so great, but they are becoming more and more popular. Personal assistant, again, to schedule appointments, summarize emails, give you reminders, like you have the little reminder on your phone. You key in and it, puts in the reminder for you. The calendar, anything like that. It will, your email reader or email writer to help you with that. Medical, of course, it is used very well in medical breakthroughs, for the scans and for reading reports and just making diagnoses come quicker because they can go through the information quicker than a human can, and also in research, they can go through, again, just thousands and thousands and thousands of parts of data in hours instead of months. And then the regulation, they are still working on the rules and the ethics and to make sure it's used responsibly and who is responsible and, is it fair? Like that was a big thing in the art world. Is it fair that this person put art in the art show to be judged that they didn't actually sit there physically and create it? So you want to try and make sure everything is fair with it. So again, it just really comes down to using it responsibly. Which is the next slide. Verify the information.
Are there regulations in place as far as the medical procedures? Like, it's great that AI can spot something, but before you receive treatment based on that AI analysis, someone human has to take another look at that and verify.
I don't know, but I would think that a human doctor would want to verify it first before you, I would think again that it's your right to ask for verification. I don't know that there's a law, but I would think it's your right to go in and ask for that human verification instead of just going on from a computerized thing. I think they don't, like if it's an emergency, I think they go ahead with it, just if they see something like one of the things was like for the clot or something, but I think if it's like a diagnosis, I think, yeah, you absolutely, it's your right to ask and get the opinions of it. I don't know if there's a law yet. So verify the information, just, and fact check it through different sources. It's your right to ask the questions. Protect your personal data. Always say that. One thing I will say too, if you do like online banking or online bill pay, the apps are more secure than the URLs. Put your information through. Apps are a lot more secure. Think critically, ask questions, consider the different viewpoints, and just kind of use your common sense. Did that response make sense to you that you asked it? Know the limitations of AI because it doesn't think and it doesn't understand, it can't comprehend and have feelings like humans. It's just going to spit out the data that it has, the answer that it has collected from all the data that it's spun around in there when it looks for the information. And stay informed because it's always changing very quickly. The information is changing, how it's used is changing, anything like that. New platforms are coming up. So you just always kind of just want to stay informed. But, you are in control of the information and you just need to make sure that you feel comfortable with what you have found out. And then a couple of the myths versus reality. The myth is AI knows everything. It does not know everything. It knows what it knows from the information that it's gathering as it goes. And it can definitely make mistakes. It can create a believable but incorrect answer. Just like with the book, it had about 75% of it correct, but part of it was just not correct, but it sounded like it knew exactly what it was talking about. AI is conscious and thinks like a person. It does not have feelings, awareness, or personal opinion. So you can't ask it an opinion on something either. It's not going to give you an opinion. It's going to give you an answer spitting out the information. This is the information that I found. It's not going to give you an opinion on something because it cannot form an opinion. And then another myth is AI will replace everyone tomorrow. It's not going to replace, it's going to change things, but it is not going to replace you. It's like the doctor will use AI to analyze medical images, but the doctor still makes the final decision. The human doctor should still make the final decision on your medical treatment. AI is a tool. It's not a replacement for human intelligence. It's a tool designed to help us with our everyday work or tasks or anything like that. We just use it the same as we use, any other kind of tool. A teacher can use it to create personalized learning activities for students, which is really good. She may have a learning plan. She knows she has a student that learns a little bit differently. She can feed that information in to one of the education platforms, and it will give her the lesson plan specific for that student a little bit so that they can learn and not get left behind. A doctor can use the information to help, get the scans and everything quicker, so to help him make the diagnosis. And a small business can use AI to brainstorm ideas, improve customer service, things like that. You've seen the commercial for Copilot from the pizza guy who, on the commercial, went back to the $1 slice and had the line around, and Copilot gave him like the pros and cons of what the ingredients were versus how much he could sell and everything like that. The little Copilot commercial there for that. Its impact depends on people. So people are designing, humans are designing how AI is worked. So they are working to help refine AI with what it does. So it can help create educational resources, but you have to make sure that it's not going to spit out inaccurate information in educational research. It can make work more efficient, but you just have to make sure that you understand how your job may change, and you may have to then go back and have some different training and things like that. So AI does what it's asked to do. For the most part, it will do what you ask it to do, but you've got to be responsible for the oversight of it and to kind of verify that it is correct for what you asked it. AI, the future is decided by people here. It's shaped by the decisions that are made in businesses, education, government, communities, everything like that. That's all put in. That's how, they use it for technology, for vehicles, for analyzing information, for anything like that. You have to make sure that whoever's overseeing it, they have to be kind of ethical to make sure that it's being used correctly. A couple of questions are that they're working on now. How can AI improve lives while still protecting people's privacy? They're still trying to figure that one out. How do you make sure that AI systems are accurate, fair, and transparent? Again, with the bias, you've got to feed it more information. Certain factors are not getting in there, so that information is not correct. So they've got to make sure that more information goes into for these different sections. What decision should always remain in human hands? Again, I would think like the medical would be one that should be a person-to-person decision. The doctor can take what the AI has given it from the scans and the reports, but it needs to be, you still need to make that human decision, because AI is not going to make the decision. It's going to spit out and say, based on this is what has come out, but you need to think about it's not going to have your personal situation on there. And then how can we make sure that it's used responsibly in the future? So there are oversight committees and things like that do watch it to make sure that it is not being used irresponsibly and incorrectly. So it's a great tool. It is very helpful, but you just have to make sure that you double check behind it and that you are using it responsibly, just like with anything with the scams or anything. Just try to use it for good and not for bad. But it does have where it has already started to regulate itself, where like it will not replicate copyrighted items and things like that. Okay, that's all I have.
Thank you very much.
Does anybody have any questions?
If you were to ask two different AIs the same question, would you get two totally different answers? or would it be-
You could get two different answers, yes. An example would be if you ask ChatGPT a question and ask Google Gemini a question, you're going to get basically the same information, but how they give it to you and how it's tailored is gonna be a little bit different. Like when I asked it to do things for program creation, for information, ChatGPT gives it to me in a little bit simpler form, where Gemini breaks out in a more polished business form answer. So it will give kind of the similar to the answer, but it will give it to you in a different type, different voice, I guess.
Shelli, you put a lot into this.
Thank you.
Really did, I
Thank you.
just want to thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thanks for
Copy
coming.
of the slides, I can email you a copy.
Could you?
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I'll email you a copy tomorrow, okay?
Thank you.
Okay.
That's great.
I'm good.
How long did it take you? Huh?
It took me to get it all together, so I worked on it Friday.
Thanks for coming. Good. Thanks for having us. Oh, gosh,
Your little
yeah.
slides here.
Shelley put a lot into it.
And thank goodness the weather's changed.
It's kind of pleasant, yeah.
It's rained.
And I'm trying to end the video. Oh, it's not a touch screen.
Uh-oh.
Okay, there we go.